All right, welcome back. So, going through here on the last one, I said that we would start with maps. Um, this is gonna be very short on maps because when you click on maps, it's going to automatically pop this up. Which I want to talk about this since it's here anyway, and that is it's an upgrade feature. So when it comes up with the star here, it says, hey, go premium. Don't worry about any of that stuff. If it goes and it does that, then that means that you need to go premium. You end up paying $250 for it. So ask for a credit card number and all that stuff. So don't worry about doing any of that. So what we're going to do is after maps, we're going to go into trackers. Now trackers and assessments is what you're going to use the most. So keep those in your mind, trackers and assessments. But trackers, I want to say I use about 95% of the time. So I'm gonna probably do a couple videos on this. The first one's going to be setting up and creating a tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now obviously you can see right here on mine, I've already assessed some students on the standards. Now it says 4% of standards assessed. Now what this does is I've taken all the second grade GSE standards and I've put them inside this class. Well, obviously I'm not going to assess every single one of those standards. Right now I've only assessed 4% because I've only assessed one standard so far this year since I'm fairly new with the PLCs and we've only given 3 or 4 CFAs and it's been for the same standard. So what I would do is mainly if I only had one of our 5 essentials in here and I've done one out of those 5, then this would be more of a 20% range. So I'll show you how to put them all in at one time. I'll also later on I'll show you how to delete those standards and also just put in the ones that you need that you and your team have decided are going to be essential for your grade level and how to put those CFAs in under there and assess those, but we'll get to that later. So what I'm going to do is I've already created my 2 trackers here. Very simple. I have 2 block classes. If you're a 4th or 5th grade teacher, then you'll have 1 block class. If you're a kindergarten, 1st or 2nd grade teacher, now we're departmentalized, so I teach math, science, and social studies. So what I can do is even if you teach kindergarten or 1st grade, you can go in and you could say, and you wouldn't have to worry about block. You would just say math, put all your standards in. You could say social studies, put all your standards in science, put all your standards in reading, ELA, for those GSEs and standard. That way it'll give you a good way to keep up with your CFAs, the dates that they're going to do, because you can put them in order as you're going to do them. And I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit and how to move those around. But you can see that I have 15 students in this class. I'm working off the 2015 standards of excellence because those are the ones that pop up and are the easiest ones to use right now on this platform. And then in block 2 I have 16 classes. I had to add one a couple of days ago because kids do tend to move around when they qualify for either gateway, gifted, special ed, or they leave your classroom there in resource, or they're somewhere else at that time. They move. So you can see that when I said it gives me a little overview down here of what I'm assessing, and it also says how many mastery levels do you have. Well, I have it set up for 3 right now. That can be changed later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and simply I'm just going to add tracker. So I go in, and tracker is just Mastery Connect's way of saying classroom. This is your class. It's the class that you're tracking, so they call it a tracker. Well, I'm simply going to go in and I'm going to pretend, and Master Connect's really neat because what it'll do is I can go in and I can make as many of these as I want to. And me, I hang on to things for several years. I still have grades from like my first year of teaching. I just hoard things. I guess that's the natural way teachers do things with grades. Sometimes I just don't get around to deleting it. But they have a cool way of actually going in and archiving. Well, once you get in here to this trackers part where you're getting ready to set up a new classroom, over here they have a lot of, Mastery Connect does a great job of going in, and in each section you're in, they give you help, and they give you video help. You can go in, you can pause the video, you can go back, you can look at it. So you may want to check those out if I'm not being too much help to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and I am going to do let's say I'm teaching language arts. So I'm going to go in and see it says Common Core State Standards in Language Arts. I don't want to do that. What it'll do is it'll pop up, and it should automatically pop up Georgia, but it didn't this time. I'm going to go in and see it only gives me one selection for Georgia. And we're not doing Common Core state standards. We do the Georgia Standards of Excellence. So I'll go in and do those, and let's say I'm teaching 5th grade ELA. I'm going to go in and I'll say, all right, well, this tracker isn't going to be for all of my kids. Now, I could do it for all of my kids if I wanted to, but since in 5th grade we're mainly departmentalized, I'm going to set this tracker up for those kids in that class, because you can move those kids around later. Let's say they have gone through and you're making a heterogeneous group where they swap around. It's like, hey, after they've done their assessments in the middle of the year, you see that they've made enough growth that they need to move from, I know our 4th grade group, they do color groups. They need to move from, say, a green group to a red group or whatever else. Then you can move those kids around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is for my reading block 1 class. So, and they give you an example of here of what you can do. And then I can do my file color. I always like to do different file colors, because when I automatically look at it, and let's say like our 4th grade group, they do different color groups. Let's say this is for the green color group. So I'm going to know that if I go to green, I know that these kids are going to be inside of this group. Now down here, this is a really cool little instrument that can be used. You can go in and it says that you can import students from a file, a spreadsheet, or something like that, or you can copy them from another tracker. Now, since I don't have any other trackers, this is my first time with these kids, I'm not going to be able to use this because I don't have them from another tracker that I've done before. So then I go in here, import students from a CSV file. If you print that on, do like a spreadsheet, that would be a link to, like, our county does PowerSchool, and they link everything through ClassLink. So you have to log into ClassLink. You can access PowerSchool, BrainPop, and like 15 or 20 other apps to go through that, and they link all that to PowerSchool. Well, this Mastery Connect would have to link to PowerSchool to automatically migrate your students into Mastery Connect, and it would set up your stuff, and it would set up those kids for you. Unfortunately, we don't have that option because we're using the free version, so I'm going to have to go in, I'm going to have to add my students individually, which is fine with me. It gives me a chance to, first off, some of them who have hard names to spell, first and last names, gives me a chance to type those in, and it only takes a couple minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to create tracker here. So I'm going to go ahead and create that. And then it says add student. All right, so I go in and I add my students, and you can go in and you can add all your students. I'm just going to add one for the time being. And I'm just going to say that's my son, Thomas May. And then I put in his student ID number, usually their lunch number, and I'll just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Usually it's about 6 or 7 codes. Now, parent student email, if you have parent email, and most of our kids at Hamilton Crossing and Bartow County, they have a 365 email account. It's their lunch number .s@bartow.k12.ga, but I don't worry about that with the kids. If you want to add a parent email on here, and let's say I want to contact, Andrew May 755 at yahoo.com. I can go in here and I can put it in here, and it gives them access, or it sends them when I have put a grade in and they have and their students mastered, it will actually send an email. But usually I don't fool with that because I send the CFAs home because I log their evidence picture in the document camera, like we said, with that scanning mode. So I usually don't use this because I send them home because I have the evidence. There's no reason me hanging on to the paper or sending an email if I have it pictured and I already have the evidence with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I can save and add another if I want to. I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'll just use my daughter's name on that. So that's going to automatically put him into the tracker. I'm going to save. It'll take a second, and it'll pop up. It'll say student successfully added up at the top, and it'll kind of give you like a little fuzzy background, and I can see Thomas is kind of right here, so I know I've got him in there. Now I'm going to go in. I'm going to type in Sophia May, and let's see. All lunch numbers are different, so I'll start her at 2 through 7. And right here, obviously I can go back through and do all this, but let's say I've added all my students in and she's my last one. I can save and close. I can save it and add another, and I could do that until, I mean, kindergarten, let's say they have 22 kids. I got lucky this year and only have 16, and they go in and and you can add until you have all your kids in. Once you get to the end, and let's say these are all the kids in here, I can save and I can close that. Now, when Thomas and Sophia come in, their numbers come up over here. Now, as you see, I roll over it and it shows edit. So that's how you start a tracker and insert your class into Mastery Connect. And when we get back, I will show you how to put in just your standards on its own. I'm not going to need all of these because I'm only doing 5 essential skills. So I'm going to pick out my 5 essential skills with my team, work through the CFA protocol and everything, and then I will go in and I will take some of these out.